Drake just lost it on live stream. What started as a chill gaming session spiraled into full-blown chaos when Drake suddenly exploded on Kendrick Lamar. No warning, no build-up, just straight fire. He accused Kendrick of being fake deep, manipulating fans and trying to destroy his legacy like it was personal. Drake didn't hold back. He called Kendrick calculated, overrated, and said he's obsessed with tearing other artists down just to stay relevant. But instead of sympathy, the internet turned on him. Fans flooded the chat and lit up social media calling the whole meltdown pathetic, embarrassing, and a straight-up desperate cry for attention. One post went viral saying, "This ain't Drake no more. Kendrick's living in his head rent-free." And that wasn't even the worst of it. Clips of the rant were everywhere, showing Drake visibly cracked, sweating, twitchy, not the usual cool-headed superstar we know. Meanwhile, Kendrick, silent, not a single word. But that silence, louder than anything. People are saying he doesn't need to respond. Drake already did all the talking, and not in a good way. With Drake's tour falling apart and his image spiraling, fans are wondering if this is the beginning of the end. Is Kendrick actually winning just by doing nothing? And right when things couldn't get weirder, Drake dropped episode 2 of his Iceman series, part of his upcoming album Rollout. The production, surprisingly dope, but all eyes are still on that meltdown.
Kendrick, what? Kendrick dropped, you're lying. You're lying, bro. You're a cap. Oh my God, he did! Oh my God, he did! Oh my God! No! Oh my God, what's going on? What is going on? No, Drake, you have to have something in it. He didn't even let this thing breathe. Wait, did it hit Twitter?
And what it really says about where Drake's head is at, but not in a good way. Drake's latest rollout is getting clowned online. From the cringy skits to the awkward disses, it's giving washed, not legendary. Fans expected fire, but instead got what feels like a weird parody of the old Drake. The vibes, Office the music, middle, the whole thing came off like someone chasing trends instead of setting them. And let's talk visuals, because that live stream just added more confusion. Drake was seen running side by side with a creepy Pinocchio lookalike through a chaotic chase scene. Supposed to be symbolic? Maybe, but it ended up feeling more disturbing than deep. Viewers didn't see art, they saw a glitch, a superstar battling public perception while hiding behind gimmicks. Drake might have been trying to use self-aware humor, but the whole Pinocchio angle just left fans scratching their heads. Using a kid's character to unpack media pressure, yeah, that didn't land. Instead of clever, it came off bizarre, like he's stuck between trolling and a full-blown identity crisis. And this was before the new song even dropped or those mysterious collabs got teased. One thing's for sure, this campaign is trying hard to blend comedy with commentary, but whether it's working, that's still up in the air. What is clear is that the Iceman era might just be Drake's strangest chapter yet. Now let's talk about the actual album, because at this point, it's feeling less like a rap record and more like a satire show in disguise. Based on how this rollout's moving, Drake might as well have titled the project Fairy Tale for a Grown Man, cause that Pinocchio theme, it's everywhere. And this ain't some throwaway design choice either. That puppet imagery has taken over the whole campaign. Drake's side profile even mimics Pinocchio's silhouette on the cover art. That ain't random. That's a full-blown metaphor being pushed hard. He's clearly trying to say something, and what's wild is how deep he's going with it, especially from an artist who's been called out for half-baked rollouts and albums that feel all over the place. But instead of finally giving answers, this Pinocchio obsession is only raising more questions. What's the real message here? Is Drake using this puppet to speak on lies, on public image, on faking it till you make it? The symbolism screams identity crisis, dishonesty, and maybe even denial. But fans are left guessing what he's really trying to say. And for the loyal ones who've been begging for some depth, this shift into fairy tale level storytelling has sparked wild speculation. Not because it's deep.
Kendrick dropped.
No.
Yeah, hell no.
Look.
Are they playing?
On what tab? On what?
No, wait, no.
What is going on? Meet the Grams.
Oh, what the? No, what is?
Damn.
No, this is actually
6 minutes.
Damn.
But because compared to his recent drops, this actually looks like he's trying to say something real. Still, the big question stands. Is it real growth or just another mask? What's really fueling this chaos? Pure hunger. Fans have been starving for meaning, any meaning, for over a year after watching Drake get dragged in one of the most one-sided rap rivalries we've seen in a minute. So now, even the most surface-level storytelling is being hyped like it's revolutionary. That's how low the creative bar has dropped. And the irony? The only thing truly uniting Drake's fan base right now is Kendrick Lamar. That rivalry obsession is doing more numbers than the music itself. And by doubling down on the whole Pinocchio act, Drake might have accidentally played into that even deeper, giving fans exactly what they didn't know they needed, more fuel for the Kendrick comparisons. If this is a concept album, it's one built more on confusion than vision. But here's the wild part. It's working, for now. It's getting people talking again. It's sparking debates, reactions, think pieces. But whether it holds up, that's a whole different story. Drake might have just pulled off his boldest rollout yet, but not because it hits hard lyrically or sonically. Nah, this project's standing out for all the wrong reasons. It's memorable, yeah, but more like a meme than a masterpiece. The entire vibe screams high-budget parody with fancy visuals masking a shaky core. It looks like a major moment, but when you hold it next to Kendrick's surgical precision, it feels hollow. A full-blown performance, sure, but where's the substance? Kendrick Lamar just keeps delivering consistently. His storytelling isn't just good, it's legendary. Kendrick steps into characters, bends narratives, and takes listeners through mind-bending plot twists. He's not just dropping tracks, he's building worlds. That's why he's getting props far beyond hip-hop. Pulitzer-level recognition, entire concept albums that shift culture, and the power to make rap feel like fine art. Meanwhile, Drake, he's out here dressing up like Pinocchio, seriously. While Kendrick is out here rewriting the rules, Drake's rollout feels like he's staging a school play with himself as the puppet. And word on the timeline, folks are saying that puppet is meant to represent Kendrick, which only makes the whole thing more confusing. It's a wild contrast. Kendrick challenges systems, explores identity, and speaks truth through layered themes. Drake, on the other hand, is using a cartoon puppet known for lying. And it's coming off like a bad joke. The message feels lost, like a disc gone sideways. Instead of hitting Kendrick, it backfired, loudly. Before we even get into what Drake meant, let's be real. This rollout already feels like a misfire. What should have been a bold statement turned into a global self-own. That Pinocchio imagery, it ain't just about lying. There's a darker origin to that puppet story. And once you dig deeper, it starts raising real questions about how much thought went into this whole concept. Or if it was all just smoke and mirrors.
What? What? What are you saying to me? Whoa, wait, he actually dropped. Wait, what the wait, he dropped, Kendrick dropped. Whoa, what's happening? What is happening? What is happening?
Yo, let's get it.
Again, let's break this down. Because in the real versions of the Pinocchio story, that puppet isn't just known for lying. He's also tricked, manipulated, and straight up preyed on by a shady figure who targets vulnerable young boys. Yeah, that's the part people forget. And when Drake chose that character as the centerpiece for this rollout, it shifted the whole vibe. Did he even think this metaphor through? Or did it accidentally cross into uncomfortable territory? This goes way deeper than just weird visuals. It shows what might be a serious lapse in media awareness. Some symbolism isn't meant to be played with unless you really know what you're doing. Now let's get back to what Drake probably meant to say. He's clearly using the puppet to mock Kendrick, throwing shade with exaggerated visuals, especially the puppet's short height. That little jab about stature, it's not new. Drake's pulled it before. But whether it still hits or just feels tired, that's up for debate. What really takes this into wild territory is the scene itself. Drake literally running from a puppet on camera. Like, actually running. That ain't deep, that's surreal. It's not clever tension building. It's borderline performance art. And the wildest part, in the original tale, Pinocchio's nose grows when he lies. So by turning the puppet into a stand-in for Kendrick, Drake might have accidentally made himself the liar in the eyes of the public. The metaphor flips right back at him. For casual fans, it might look creative, but for anyone digging deeper, it's looking like the joke's on Drake. At this point, the inconsistencies are louder than the message. What was supposed to come off clever now feels clumsy, like the meaning got lost somewhere between the script and the screen. Let's unpack it. The surface level metaphor? Simple. Pinocchio's nose equals the lies Kendrick supposedly told about Drake, and Drake running from the puppet. That's supposed to show him dodging those fake narratives Kendrick built. That's the idea, or at least what this whole mess seems to be trying to say. But even if you squint and try to read deep into it, the rollout just doesn't land. Instead of starting conversations, it's confusing everyone, Rather than elevating the beef, this symbolic rollout turns it into a cartoon. The real question is, how did it get this far off track? Not even a year ago, this rap battle was legendary, full of heavyweight bars and culture-shifting moments. Now, Drake's out here starring in a high-budget skit, running for his life from a puppet, and somehow still claiming he's winning the war? It's almost surreal. Like, if someone had said during the peak of this feud that Drake's next big move would be him literally running from Pinocchio on camera, you'd laugh. No way. But fast forward, and here we are. It's real, it's been filmed, edited, and packaged into a glossy streaming episode like it's peak drama. Only now, the drama's starting to look like a joke. Drake's evolution from cultural powerhouse to pure content creator is now impossible to ignore. This isn't just a switch in style, it's a full-blown shift in priorities. Instead of clapping back with bars, he's leaning into performance art, wrapped in metaphors so thick they end up burying the message instead of elevating it. And that's the problem. The puppet imagery doesn't expose Kendrick. It confuses Drake's entire position. If this was his grand response under pressure, it's worth asking, what exactly is the goal here? Because instead of delivering a powerful reinvention, we're watching a strange visual of Drake running, literally from the very narrative he claims to own. And here's where it gets messier. Kendrick's being likened to Pinocchio, the most famous fictional liar in the world. But that comparison doesn't land, it backfires. It doesn't hit Kendrick. It reflects right back on Drake. Even if we ignore the accidental dark layers in the Pinocchio story, the main metaphor still collapses under pressure. What really takes this rollout over the edge is how Drake decided to present it, an extended game of hide and seek that ends in a dramatic chase scene with the puppet. Like, what? When you break it down, the symbolism flips. If Pinocchio represents lies and Drake is the one running away, then the image isn't of him conquering falsehood, it's of him being haunted by it. Whether he meant it or not, the message is clear. The puppet isn't chasing Drake. The truth is, Drake's trying hard to outrun the noise, but it's catching up fast. No matter how much he spins, the weight of those narratives won't let go. And that's the biggest contradiction. This whole rollout was supposed to show power, control, and clever artistry. Instead, even his most loyal fans are left confused. The deeper meaning is just not landing. What we're seeing is performance over purpose, a big metaphor collapsing under its own contradictions. What was meant to be bold and symbolic now feels almost comedic, and the irony only gets worse when you line it up with Drake's past fumbles. Remember The Heart Part 6, that rushed response that missed the mark? This Iceman episode is following the exact same script, only with more lights and camera angles. This ain't some masterclass in storytelling. This is a full-blown misfire, dressed up in cinematic distractions. The stream scenes don't bring clarity. They stir more chaos. Instead of reclaiming the narrative, they deepen the fog and make you question if Drake even knows what he's trying to say. It might have been pitched as a diss layered in symbolism, but what actually hit the public was something totally different. A theatrical self-exposure that feels more like a quiet admission of loss than a win. And now, beyond the shots at Kendrick, the Iceman series is shaping up to be one of the most tone-deaf, overproduced, and straight-up disjointed moves Drake has ever made, visually and conceptually. The newest drop from Drake's Iceman series tries to keep the momentum going, but instead of tightening the story, it stretches it thin with flashy visuals and scattered symbolism. The episode leans heavy on aesthetics, but most of it feels like filler, more about vibe farming than delivering any real substance. And in between all the bizarre chase scenes with Pinocchio, two big things unfold. First, Drake slides in some new music, continuing that slow trickle of singles likely tied to the Iceman project. Second, and maybe the most unexpected move, he reveals his first featured guest of the era, a name that's now permanently tied to one of Drake's most divisive rollouts, Central C. C used the stream to preview a solo track that gave off pure UK drill energy. It was a clear nod to classic UK rap, offering a momentary jolt to an otherwise confusing live stream. But the spark didn't last. Right after came the big reveal, their official collab, Which One? Now positioned as a second single for the album, the track was supposed to lift the hype, but instead it sank expectations. Fast. The production feels flat, the chemistry between Drake and Central C is awkward, and the song just doesn't hit. The verses wander aimlessly, and the hook, practically invisible. Fans online aren't holding back. Many are calling it one of Drake's weakest singles ever. If this is supposed to build momentum for Iceman, it's doing the opposite. The rollout isn't heating up, it's melting down. For someone with Drake's status, the lack of chemistry on a major track like this is wild. What should have been a bold global power play now looks like just another fumble. And every new release tied to the Iceman rollout makes one thing crystal clear. The gap between what Drake wants to do and what he's actually delivering is growing wider by the day. This ain't looking like creative growth, it's looking like a business play gone wrong. The whole campaign feels like product over passion. And now, a pattern's starting to show. Drake's not just hitting a rough patch, he's hitting a brand new low. This isn't just about weaker music, it's an all-around artistic breakdown. The Kendrick feud that once had fans glued in, it's now being dragged out with awkward visuals, clumsy symbolism, and weak disses that don't even land. Even with a loyal fan base willing to ride, Drake isn't moving right. He's not turning that support into impact. Instead, he's proving Kendrick right, especially when Kendrick called him out for misusing his own fan power. And then there's the Central C collab, which stood out not because it was fire, but because it was forgettable. No edge, no spark, just empty hype. This moment in Drake's career needed to be explosive. Instead, it barely makes noise. Hip-hop is built on realness, rebellion, and raw creativity, not on lifeless formulas and vanity projects. When one of the biggest names in the game starts abandoning the culture's roots for flashy gimmicks, it doesn't just hurt him, it dulls the genre. It's not just hurting Drake, it's dragging the whole genre with it. For those still holding on to the Iceman era and this wild Pinocchio rollout, the truth is hitting harder with every drop. The moves don't feel smart anymore, they feel desperate. And as these missteps keep stacking, it's starting to look like the fall isn't just possible, it's already in motion. Drake's window to switch lanes is closing fast. Critics are getting louder, core fans losing patience, and the wildest part? He doesn't seem to see the full picture. Surrounded by hype men, diehards, and blind support, Drake's stuck in an echo chamber that's drowning out reality. But that bubble can't last forever, and when it finally bursts, that crash might be permanent. Dropping underwhelming tracks like the one in Iceman Episode 2 isn't helping, it's speeding up the decline. If this is where he's heading, half-baked ideas and empty visuals, it's not a reinvention. It's an artistic dead end. This ain't growth, this is running on fumes. So the real question now is this: what did this latest chapter actually do? Between the offbeat puppet themes, the shaky music, and a rollout that confuses more than it connects, what's Drake really saying? Is there a deeper message hiding underneath? Or are we just watching a once unstoppable artist slowly run out of steam in real time? Now we want to hear your take. What did you think of Iceman Episode 2? Was the symbolism genius or just straight up confusing? Did the rollout and the single actually hit, or did the visuals drown out the music? Is there any real artistry here, or has Drake fully traded bars for theatrics? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let us know what music you've been vibing to this week. With so many new drops, we're keeping track of everything, and you already know more breakdowns are coming real soon. If you haven't already, smash that like, hit subscribe, and turn on those notifications. It helps the channel grow and keeps this convo alive. We appreciate every single one of you tapping in. And if you're curious how all of this ties into Kendrick Lamar's global takeover, especially after that mind-blowing performance in the UK while Drake was trying to chase the same crowd, don't miss the video we've linked next. Because when it comes to this rap rivalry, the world's already picked a side. And trust, it's getting real out here. Subscribe, like, share, and drop a comment. See you in the next video.